My crush asked me once again to crash his wedding. Sure, it's a business marriage, but I can't keep doing this every time. He whipped out a black card and shoved it into my face. I snatched the black card, promised tearfully to get the job done. Yet, at the wedding, after I scared off the bride, he pulled me back and made me finish the wedding with him. Me, what? After successfully ruining my crush's marriage last year, he asked me to crash his wedding again. At the cafe downstairs from my office, I took a sip of my iced Americano. I grinned at Justin across the table with a fake smile. Thanks, but no thanks. Are you kidding? Last time I felt sorry for him. Pretended to be a debt collector, with some extras causing a scene at the wedding. Made him look like a gambler. The bride couldn't accept it and canceled the wedding on the spot. The marriage was called off. Of course, our little stunt didn't fool the families. Justin got a beating from his family. And I got a thorough scolding. Even had my bank cards frozen. Justin just got a few bruises. But I lost my financial ground. To make some pocket money. Now I punch in and out of work like clockwork. Working diligently for my brother, feeling like a total corporate slave. So I decided, no matter what he says this time, I won't do it. Justin sat slouched, legs crossed, fingers tapping on the table. So, what do you think? I sternly replied, sure, it's a business marriage, but I can't. Before I finished, he shook his head with a smirk, and slowly opened his wallet. Pulled out a black card and held it out to me, like tempting Eve with forbidden fruit. My eyes lit up, my hand moved faster than my brain, grabbing it in a flash. I changed my tone and said sincerely, I can't let you down repeatedly, right? Hee hee. God knows how tight life's been for me. I'd been dodging calls from luxury store clerks. Justin laughed at my eagerness, no backbone. I weighed the black card in my hand, feeling great, I promised with full confidence. Rest easy, I got this. Then, to boost my morale, I texted the store clerk saying I decided to buy myself a new bag. As they say, practice makes perfect. I planned to use the same trick. But Justin shot it down immediately. Well, he's the one financing this now. You see this news, abandoning wife and kid, finding new love, such a jerk. So basically, stay far away from guys like that. Hearing my coworkers chat nearby, inspiration hit me. This time, I'd set Justin up as a jerk husband. Surefire, and once and for all. After my passionate explanation, Justin on the other line was super quiet. So? You mean after 3 days, I'll be the abandoning jerk husband? Sounded like he wasn't too thrilled. Or am I supposed to just barge in literally swinging a huge sword? Not happening, I'm not getting arrested for that. I was muttering to myself but heard Justin sigh, sounded like he was gritting his teeth too. Fine. We'll do it your way. Last time was such a disaster. I had my makeup artist friend give me a total makeover. Seriously, even I almost didn't recognize myself in the mirror. On the wedding day, I effortlessly dodged the hotel security in the lobby. Pushed open the hall doors with attitude. I walked down the long red carpet, my heels echoing loudly. Everyone turned and looked at me. On stage, Justin stood with his new business bride. I gotta admit, he looked pretty sharp in that suit. Timed it perfectly, they hadn't exchanged rings yet. I snatched the mic from the host without a word. Sneakily exchanged a glance with Justin. And then began my performance. Using my college drama skills, I tearfully questioned him. Justin, you said you'd marry me. You promised a home for me and the baby, was it all lies? I even touched my slightly round belly, luckily I overate earlier, saved me a prop. Suddenly, a slap, crisp and loud. I looked up, Justin's usually fair face was red. Yikes, she hit hard. The bride glanced at me and raised her hand again. Sensing danger, I backed away a few steps for safety. Next thing I knew, a bouquet flew my way, I caught it out of reflex. I looked down. Suddenly I was holding a bouquet. The bride said wish you both eternal love and ran off with her dress through the exit. What a vicious curse. I watched her disappear, completely stunned. Huh? She just left like that? Come back, I still got lines to say. Later, I found out from Justin that she had planned all along to elope with her first love. My act gave her the perfect excuse to leave. Luckily, I snapped back quickly. Task done, time to exit. I gave Justin a look, signaled him with an okay, ready to slip away. But just as I took a step, he yanked me back. I fell into his arms, and the mic ended up in his hand. Confused, I was lost. Justin, what are you doing? He acted like he didn't hear, keeping one arm around my waist. He started speaking smoothly. Sorry for the embarrassment, everyone. The wedding will now proceed as planned. His cold, low voice echoed through every corner of the hall. The place went dead silent. I looked up at him in disbelief. Justin, are you out of your mind? This wasn't in the script we agreed on. I reached out to grab the mic, but he held onto my hand. Leaning close to my ear, he smiled, a bit creepily. Haley, if we're doing this, let's do it right. Can't have just my reputation on the line. This guy, he's adding to the script himself. I stomped on his shoe with my heel. He groaned softly, frowning, but his grip didn't loosen. The MC, at Justin's signal, took the mic and cleared his throat. Let's all witness this happy moment for the couple. My jaw dropped. Dude, do I look like a bride? He nodded at me, clearly saying I did. A little flower girl held a velvet box in front of us. Justin pried open my clenched fist. Are you seriously doing this? Black card, he said, and those two words got me. I sighed internally. You've accepted his favor, now you owe him. I should have known that black card wasn't given lightly. Submitting to his coercion, I watched the ring slide easily onto my finger. It fit perfectly, almost like it was custom made for me. Justin smiled, lifted my hand, and gently kissed the ring. It was a light, dragonfly-like touch, but it made my heart skip. The audience started clapping sparsely, yet to me, it was deafening. Wait, why do I feel like I've been set up? Just playing along with the wedding process for Justin would have been fine. Like a friendly performance. We used to play this sort of pretend game as kids. Doing it once more as adults felt a bit novel. But this guy took it further and asked me to serve tea to his parents. Justin, give me a break. Lying spread eagle on the couch in the lounge, I groaned. Mom said she prepared a big red envelope for her daughter-in-law, Justin said, lazily leaning against a pillar next to me. I snorted, unmoved. I like money, but it has to be earned right. I turned over, burying my face in the couch, refusing without hesitation. Not going, I'm not your wife. He knelt down, grabbed my hand dangling off the couch, and rubbed his thumb over the ring he'd just placed. I looked up into his playful eyes. Oh, then give me my wife's ring back. Okay, fine. I agreed obediently on the outside, but inwardly, I thought, Justin, you're miserly. You're the one who stuck the ring on me. Take it back, whatever, I don't care. I tried removing the ring immediately. It didn't budge, like it was glued to my finger. Odd, it wasn't this difficult when it went on. I tried several times until my knuckles turned red, but I couldn't get it off. Shaking my hand in frustration, I shot a glance at Justin. He was staring at my hand, not looking pleased. Does he really care this much about the ring? For some reason, my chest felt tight. Seems like brute force won't work. My brain clicked into gear, scanning the room for a solution. Then I saw the fridge in the corner, and a light bulb moment hit. I jumped off the couch, opened the freezer, grabbed some ice, and put my hand on it. Even in summer, I inhaled sharply at the cold. What are you doing? Justin asked in a flat tone. Thermal expansion, silly. I'm smart, right? I said proudly. After a bit, I tried again to remove the ring. Justin looked amused and said, "Haley, you're something else." Didn't sound like a compliment. But that didn't matter because my method worked. I placed the ring back on the coffee table, relieved. "Okay, it's back. Can I leave now?" Justin's lips moved to respond, but his mom's voice interrupted from outside. I sighed and glared at Justin. No escaping now. Running out of options, I braced myself to serve tea to Justin's parents. Head held low, hoping they wouldn't recognize me. Time to test my acting skills. Even I cringed at the sugary tone I used. "Mom and Dad, please have some tea." Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Justin's mouth curling up. It ticked me off. When handing the tea to him, I accidentally shook my hand, spilling most of it on his sleeve. Not scalding, but satisfying. "Oh no, I'm so clumsy," I said in a pitiful tone with a smug look. Performance nailed. He just said it was okay in front of his parents, keeping his composure. After the tea, his parents spoke earnestly, a bit helpless. "Since the wedding's done, you should get your certificate soon. Don't delay getting the kid enrolled." Right, I was pregnant, too. What a headache. His dad called him over, likely for a talking to. I eavesdropped intently. The old man said, "Son, why didn't you mention this earlier? Pulling a stunt like this with all those guests?" After a good scolding and a sigh, he added, "What's done is done. Find a time to apologize and take care of this girl." Justin's dad glanced over at me, and I shrank, trying to make myself smaller. This girl seems shy. What's her name? Oh. I exchanged a look with Justin through the door. Hopefully, we're on the same page. Justin was silent for a moment before he finally turned his head and said my name right in front of his dad. "Haley." Just like that, he said it out loud. Oh no. I jerked my head up, momentarily forgetting his mom was sitting right across from me. She looked at me like she was trying to remember where she'd seen me before. "Daughter-in-law, why do you look so familiar?" I forced a couple of awkward laughs, trying to salvage the situation. "Huh, really? Maybe I just have one of those faces." Justin and his dad exchanged a few words and then came over. No use keeping up the act. They knew. I quickly realized the situation and let out a dramatic cry, trying to get ahead of it. "I'm sorry, Uncle and Auntie, it was all Justin's idea." I implied I was just playing a minor role. He was the mastermind. "I never wanted to trick you." Tears streamed down my face, and my makeup was a mess, all colorful and streaky. His parents were taken aback and hurriedly comforted me. "Silly kid, we don't blame you. We're thrilled you and Justin are happy together." Then they urged Justin, who was just standing there. "You, go comfort your wife." This reaction felt off. Also, what did they mean by happy together? My mind was racing. What did Justin tell them? Once my shock subsided, logic took over. As far-fetched as Justin's lie was, it was still better than them finding out we crashed the wedding on purpose. His parents actually seemed happier once they realized the wedding crasher was me, smiling like they won a prize. They gave us space to talk. As soon as they left, I tackled Justin to the floor. We both hit the carpet. He didn't resist, just laid there with amused eyes. "You're laughing?" I fumed, thinking about how he manipulated everything with a black card, gave me extra drama to deal with, and now claimed I liked him. My anger flared up, and I punched his shoulder. "Who said we're happy together?" He just leaned back, supporting his head with his hands, looking casual. Got a better explanation? I was speechless and frustrated. No way. You need to clear things up with your parents. And let go, I want to get up. Annoyingly, he had his arm around my waist. He didn't move. Instead, he tightened his grip slightly, raising an eyebrow with a mischievous tone. I stared wide-eyed, perplexed by his actions. "What are you trying to do, Justin?" Suddenly, he placed a hand on the back of my head and pulled me closer to his chest. Through the layers of fabric, I could feel his firm muscles. My throat went dry, and my breathing got a little ragged. Everything went quiet, and I felt like I was in a vast, empty field. My senses seemed heightened, his hand on my waist burning hot, and his heartbeat thunderous in my ears. Above me, I heard his soft, almost whispered voice, enticing, "Happy together means you like me, I like you too." I instinctively shot back, "Who likes you?" Then I processed his second part, incredulous. "Wait, are you kidding?" He held me tighter, his voice more serious than ever. "When have I ever lied to you?" True, Justin never bothered with lies, unlike me, who's quick on my feet. He looked at my shocked, confused face and sighed, shaking his head. I thought I was being obvious. My mind swirled with confusion. Looking into his gentle eyes, memories from our childhood flashed by. Our families were close, so Justin and I went to the same schools from elementary to high school. A true childhood sweetheart situation. Though we didn't end up at the same university since my grades weren't quite up to the standard of this academic star. After the college entrance exams, my scores were average, and I ended up applying to a local college. I was chill about it, and my parents didn't mind. But Justin got strangely upset about it. He stood under my apartment with his bike, speaking in a tone that sounded like a command. "You should reconsider your choice." I checked. "Your score should be fine for admission to that college." I quickly looked it up online and realized the school he mentioned was in the same city as the university he got a spot at, just a few streets apart. I shrugged it off casually, rejecting his suggestion. "Doesn't matter where I go." "But it does to me," he blurted out, looking a bit embarrassed after realizing what he said. After giving me a confusing look, he tossed out a "never mind" and pedaled off so fast he practically disappeared, like he was running away. I didn't even have time to respond. I had almost said, "Let me think about it." That summer, Justin didn't talk to me at all, except when I got my acceptance letter. I sent him a couple of photos on a whim. "Pretty, right?" He replied, "Ugly." They say he's handsome, but oh boy, that mouth of his. But I was in a good mood, so I let it slide. Later on, at his graduation party, my parents invited me to tag along. As soon as Justin saw me, he turned away. Throughout the evening, I only saw his perfectly chiseled profile. I was feeling a bit hurt, maybe even annoyed. Trying to figure out what went wrong. In the end, we just ignored each other. That summer, I decided to go on a tour with my best friend. We hit all the spots I wanted to visit in the country. When my phone rang, I had just stepped out of the airport. On the other end, he sounded like he was barely holding his phone, his voice fading in and out, mumbling nonsense. "Haley, you're so heartless." While waiting by the road with my luggage, I was totally confused. "Justin, what's your deal now?" There was silence, only the heavy beats of metal rock and people shouting in the background. I asked again a few times, but he just kept quiet. I was exhausted from all the traveling, and with school starting tomorrow, all I wanted was to get home and crash. I was about to hang up when he finally spoke, asking where I was. Half an hour later, a cab pulled up in front of me. The wind outside the airport was strong, blowing my bangs out of the way and revealing my forehead. Justin stepped out from the back, staring at me intently. His cheeks were a bit flushed, eyes a bit lazy, with that unmistakable hint of booze. Guess he wasn't shy about day drinking, and quite a bit at that. I secretly thought, "Katya." I was like, I'll just go and tell his folks. I waved my hand in front of his eyes. "Justin, long time no see." He grunted, brushed my hand away, grabbed my suitcase handle, and threw it in the trunk. "Come on, let's get you home." His actions were smooth and steady. Clearly, he wasn't that drunk. Inside the cab, the vibe was a bit awkward. He closed his eyes, pretending to nap, and I kept quiet too. It was evening, and I rolled down the window, watching the sun slowly sink below the horizon. A couple of soft coughs from beside me made me turn. The fading sunset outlined his sharp features, his neck partly shadowed by messy dark hair. My breath hitched, some part of me stirred. "So, where'd you go?" By his tone, I knew he was trying to make peace. I looked away and started recounting my travel stories. "So, let me tell you." He listened with interest, throwing in a comment here and there. The hour-long drive quickly ended as we took a short tree-lined street, but it felt like we walked from dusk till nightfall. He lazily pushed my pink suitcase as we strolled. I slowed down too, perhaps an unspoken compromise. Looking back, it seemed something was definitely off with him then. He often seemed like he wanted to say something but didn't. Even though my mind was a mess, I forced a calmness and changed topics. "My foot's asleep, can I get up now?" He chuckled softly, and I sat up. He looped an arm under mine, like holding a kid. The pose felt too intimate, and I squirmed to get free. My face turned beet red. "Don't move," he murmured, voice raspy. Angry, I muttered, "Why should I listen?" And wriggled some more. He pushed his tongue into his cheek, pinned my arms above my head, gripped my chin, and leaned in, brushing his lips against mine. As his lips touched the corner of my mouth, my mind went blank, my heart racing as if it would jump out of my chest. Somehow, I pushed him away, grabbing my bag and fleeing the scene, sprinting as if chased by monsters. Drained, I returned home to find my parents seated on the couch, looking grave. They didn't react to me entering, like they'd lost something important. They seemed out of it. I quietly pulled my brother aside, concerned. "Are we going broke?" He smacked my head and gave me a disappointed look. "What are you thinking?" After a pause, he said, "Mom and Dad know." With hands on my shoulders, he said seriously, "You and Justin grew up together. If you like each other, why not tell the family sooner?" I was speechless. "Bro, Justin made that up. It was just to avoid an arranged engagement and cause a scene." He eyed me doubtfully. "I don't buy it. If you didn't care for him, why fly out when you heard he had a girlfriend junior year?" That made me think, and memories that had faded with time came back clearly bit by bit. The first semester of junior year. Our department had a New Year's gala. We, the drama club, had a skit. Normally, I'd play a tree or animal, but this time I got to be the second lead, with real lines. My first serious role since joining the club. That month, I was fully invested in rehearsals, stuck in a dorm class club loop. After our first full rehearsal went well and the lineup confirmed, I finally relaxed a bit. I pulled out my phone and shared the gala flyer in my group chat. Scrolling down, I saw a photo my brother posted yesterday. He was on a business trip and decided to visit Justin's school along the way. There was a photo of them in front of Huajing University. A third person I didn't know appeared in it. A girl with long, straight black hair, looking pure and sweet. She was holding Justin's arm and smiling shyly at the camera. My fingers hovered over the screen, trembling slightly. My excitement suddenly froze, leaving me a bit dazed. By the time I snapped out of it, I had already booked the earliest flight. The weather wasn't great that day, all gray and gloomy. The check-in staff warned of a snowstorm warning, saying the flight might be delayed. Weather forecasts aren't always accurate though. The flight arrived on time at 11 p.m. After leaving the terminal, I took a cab straight to Justin's university. I left in a hurry and didn't get a chance to change out of my performance outfit. I just threw on a warm jacket. I didn't expect it to be this cold here, so cold I was stomping my feet. The security booth at the school entrance was lit up, so I ran over and knocked on the door. The security guard uncle opened a small window and looked out at me. "Show your school ID." "Uncle, I'm not from this school. I have something urgent to tell my friend." He glanced at his watch, speaking impatiently. "It's almost midnight. The dorm's lights are out. Come back tomorrow." Helplessly, I had to call Justin. Just as I opened my contacts, I faintly heard a familiar voice. I looked up and saw two people walking hand in hand across the street, chatting and laughing as they headed this way. The last time I saw Justin was last year. The green light came on, and he walked with a single strap bag, looking distinguished. The girl beside him was a head shorter, trying to keep up with small steps. They seemed like a perfect couple. As they got closer, I instinctively hid behind a nearby tree trunk. I watched them walk past and enter the school gate, disappearing from view. Snowflakes started falling, wetting my eyelashes. It seemed like this snowfall was happening late at night. I didn't quite believe Justin was dating, but seeing it for myself made this trip seem pointless. I crouched alone under a streetlight for a long while, occasionally interrupted by the sound of passing cars. Suddenly, my phone rang. It was my brother calling. "Haley, the dorm advisor called me. Why aren't you back in your dorm? Where have you wandered off to?" For some reason, his accusing tone made me feel wronged. Choking up, I said, "Bro, it's so cold." When my brother pulled up in front of me, I was shivering. He got out and glanced at the school gate, then at my huddled form, asking, "What brought you here all of a sudden?" "Maybe I lost my mind," I replied, forcing a grin. "I kinda missed you." I jumped into the passenger seat, sighing at the warmth inside, didn't expect it to suddenly snow heavily. He looked at my red eyes, seemingly doubtful of my explanation. I prodded him, "Come on, let's go. I need to get back for rehearsal." As the car rolled forward, a layer of mist formed on the window. I breathed on it and traced Justin with my finger, staring at it for a few seconds. I told myself we'd been childhood friends. If he's dating, I should be happy for him. Yet it felt like I was catching him cheating. The thought made me chuckle, and I wiped the window clean. The New Year's Eve play was a success. Afterward, I returned backstage to remove my makeup. A bouquet awaited me at my seat, with a card tucked inside. I reached for the card but was disappointed to see the signature. I laughed at myself, questioning what I had been expecting. "Haley, come here." My dad's angry yell snapped me out of my thoughts. In the end, I couldn't avoid getting scolded. "So you dared to come back. You're never settled, always acting impulsively. Now, you even showed up at someone's wedding, causing a scene in front of all those guests. Absolutely disgraceful." I hunched over, listening obediently. "Dad, I know I messed up. Stand up straight." I muttered to myself as I cursed Justin 1,000 times. I've landed myself in trouble for his sake. I secretly vowed to treat myself to a few new bags as consolation. Seeing my good attitude towards admitting fault, Dad sighed and softened his tone. Justin's father called. "They're coming over tomorrow to officially propose." I lost my balance, my breath stuck in my throat. "Are you kidding me? Seriously?" Despite my numerous explanations and refusals, I begged my brother to cover for me and fled home overnight. Sprawled on a country inn's large bed, I took out that black card, scrutinizing it. "Justin, you've really put me in a mess." In the silence of early morning, the sing-song of cicadas and the whisper of the stream were faintly audible outside. Finally, I calmed down completely. Justin's kiss from earlier played on my mind like a pebble dropped in a pond, creating ripples. He said he liked me. How much of that could be true? Mulling it over, I couldn't find a conclusive answer. Pulling up the covers, I decided to sleep on it. At dawn, a loud knocking woke me up. I grumbled as I got out of bed, peeping through the door's peephole to see a travel-weary Justin. Suddenly fully awake, I thought, "Oh great, he found me here. This must be my brother's doing." Choosing to play dead, I lay back down and buried my face under the covers, intending to keep sleeping since the door was locked. Just as I was dozing off again, I heard the beep of the door unlocking. He walked in with his long legs, coming in with the innkeeper. "Wait, how did you get in?" The innkeeper smiled professionally. "Justin, I'll leave you and your wife to it. Call me if you need anything." Then he turned and left. Justin sat on the chair by the bed, looking at me with a leisurely gaze. My wife ran away after an argument, so I came to bring her home. I shot up, kneeling on the bed and placing my hands together in a pleading fashion. Come on, Justin, cut me some slack. I'll return your black card, okay? I whipped out the black card from under my pillow and tossed it his way. He burst into a silent laugh, stood up, and the card fell to the floor. He started moving closer, step by step, until he backed me up to the head of the bed. The air conditioner was on, but the room felt like it was getting hotter. Right then, my phone started ringing. I turned my head slightly and saw the screen flashing with Felix's name. Justin followed my gaze, and his expression darkened. He quickly reached for the phone on the nightstand, answering it with speakerphone on. His eyes locked onto mine, and he spoke in a deep, magnetic voice. Hello, Haley is still sleeping. Anything you want me to pass on? Before they could respond, he added, like he just remembered, oh, by the way, I'm her husband. I rolled my eyes at his childish antics, feeling a bit speechless. A pause from the other end before a slow reply came. Could you tell Haley I'm getting married on the 10th of next month? The invitation is on its way. When the call ended, Justin's expression shifted from pale to flushed. There was no reason for him to be so territorial. The thought made me laugh until tears came. Why is he so hostile toward Felix? Justin didn't even know him. The flowers backstage that year were from Felix. Bright red roses didn't match the card's stiff congratulatory message, but it was a nice gesture. He was my senior. On my first day at college, he was very kind helping me with my luggage. Every performance after that, no matter how minor my role, he'd always give me flowers, usually chrysanthemums or lilies, never roses. When I walked out of the auditorium that time, holding the roses, I spotted Felix standing a few meters away under a streetlight. He wore a huge smile and waved excitedly. That night, I accepted his confession. He was kind and gentle, so I decided to try liking him. But the moment he leaned in at the movie theater, I dodged. By month 3, we'd peacefully broken up. Not even my brother knew about it, so what's up with Justin? He seemed to read my mind, speaking slowly. On New Year's Eve of junior year, I came to your school. Down by the dorm, you were all wrapped up in some guy's arms. That was the guy who just called. His tone had a hint of grievance. I instinctively explained, that was not what it seemed. My hair got caught in the zipper, and he was just helping me. His face relaxed. So, you two weren't together? Well, we were, I confessed. He was technically my first love. His brows furrowed again, staring at me like I'd done something wrong. I wasn't going to back down. What? Everyone has a first love. You didn't? This made me recall a winter night years back. Unexpectedly, Justin nodded. Funny enough, no. I blurted, don't lie. I saw her on your arm during the wee hours. What did you see? He tilted his head, eyeing me. I couldn't stand his probing gaze, so I let it all out. My brother's post of you two, during that heavy snow right before the new year. He pondered for a few seconds, then an expression of realization crossed his face, his tone deep with meaning. Oh, you mean Lily. He laughed. She wasn't on my arm. That picture had us misaligned. Did you even look carefully? I might have glanced briefly then closed the screen. And that night, it was the professor talking to us about a project. We all went back to the dorm area together. Anything wrong with that? Sounds reasonable. So, were you jealous? No way, just surprised, I stubbornly denied. Justin seemed amused, his mood lifting. Then why did you agree twice to help me sabotage my marriage arrangement? He pressed on. I stuck to my excuse, you're my best friend, plus the black card was tempting. He scrutinized me, clearly skeptical of my excuse. Sliding under the covers, I felt a mix of emotions. After a while, he hugged me through the blanket, his voice soft, coaxing. Haley, I've always liked you. It's my fault for not telling you sooner. Every time I wanted to, your focused look stopped me. I figured staying friends was best since we know each other too well. No one wanted to ruin that. Yesterday, I couldn't believe his confession and chose to run. Today, I came out from under the blanket, faced him, and called his name, Justin. Yeah? What day is it today? Monday. Why? Let's get married then. He looked startled, his face showing doubt. You're not willing, huh? No worries, I was just testing you. You just called me your wife in front of someone. He cut off my rambling. The sudden kiss hit like a storm. I tilted my head back, grabbing onto his arm against the bed. When I eventually started running out of breath, I pushed against his chest. He stopped but kept our lips touching, chuckling softly. Didn't your first love teach you how to breathe? I bit him in defiance, and he spoke hoarsely, teasing, so, was that your first kiss? Before I could respond, he added, funny, it was mine too. A cold touch on my finger made me look down, seeing something surprising. The ring I took off with such struggle yesterday was back on my finger. His lips brushed my ear, his voice soft and firm, told you, this ring is for my wife. I was about to say, the household register is still at home. The knock on the door was totally out of place. Justin and I turned to see where the noise was coming from. It was my brother poking his head in, waving our household registration book at us. Mom and Dad sent me to give you this book so you two can hurry up and get your marriage license. He awkwardly chuckled, clearly just noticing how close Justin and I were sitting. Am I interrupting something? I chuckled and suddenly grabbed a pillow to throw at him. Selling me out now, huh? He dodged it and dashed off in no time. I picked up the registration book from the floor and turned to meet Justin's loving gaze. In a flash, he wrapped an arm around my waist. Let's go get that license. Just as we got to the door, I realized I forgot something. So I rushed back. A few seconds later, Justin saw the black credit card in my hand and tapped my head. His voice was playful, little money grubber.